Let the Dead Girl Graduate to heading on to another topic, which I'm reminded of because of the fact that somebody that I know who has seen some of the episodes on the channel has made me realize that I I plainly state what the channel is for. I've said this in multiple videos. But unfortunately, some people don't seem to realize what the channel is for, and so I'd like to make an entire video just about why this channel exists. So firstly, the channel exists because I love video games, and unfortunately over the years, my ability to enjoy video games has dwindled. Sometimes it'll spark back up. Yakuza 0 especially was fantastic for me back when I played that, but that was in like 2018 or so, which was 7 years ago. It feels weird to say. Like, man, a lot of the, like, sci-fi shows or movies we grew up watching were like, oh, the future of 2018 or 2025, and I'm like, man, it's those years now. And shit sucks a lot. Like, not even a little bit. It sucks a lot of it. No self-lacing shoes. No, when was RoboCop? Wasn't RoboCop in the nowadays kind of a thing? I don't know. But getting back to why I'm doing this, video games have always been a part of my life. I believe I said before, one of the first times I played a game, I was like between 2 and 4. I was on my old man's lap, and he was letting me control Doom. I don't know if I played well. Apparently I did. Apparently I did, in fact, pass through at least one level. He might have helped me with, like, getting the key. I don't know. I haven't played Doom in so long, but I know there's, like, key cards or something to get through levels sometimes. That was probably the hardest part for a little kid. The other games I played as a little kid were, like, you know, Super Mario Bros. 3 on the SNES, I believe it was, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, which it's wild to me that some people don't know what the SNES is. Like, they know the Super Nintendo, but they've never called it the SNES, or they just never played a Nintendo system, which it makes sense that they wouldn't know about the SNES. But, like, people still call the first one the NES, the NES, but it's for some reason they won't say SNES. That's what I grew up with, was calling it the SNES, and I believe a lot of other people did too. So that's just the surface level of the channel, or rather, the why it's a channel in which video games are a major component of it. The core reason, or reasons, is that I'm playing games that my old man would have been interested in, but he didn't get to play, or he didn't get to finish. That's the end-all, be-all, or however you say that. I've never said that phrase, so hopefully that's how you say it. By the time he died, and I believe I said this before, he had a lot of shovelware JRPGs. He had some games that he just didn't play. In fact, some of the games I think he borrowed from me, and I didn't get them back, because the person he was seeing at the time got him hooked back on cocaine, and that's probably... I'm not monetized at all. I'm not going to be monetized until I get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours in 1 year's time. Or rather, those two things need to exist within a year of each other. Hopefully, within a year's time, I'll have 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers, but that's a large gain for a small niche channel like this. Though thankfully, from what people say, and from what I've read, having a niche like this isn't bad, as long as your content is good and is approachable by enough people, and enough people understand love and loss enough to be able to appreciate what it is I'm trying to do. Which is that, to a degree, it's about the... I don't think this is the right word for it, but it's the closest word I could think of when I was writing my little notes, my little bullet points, was it's a certain degree of resolution towards his life, in that it's finishing something he couldn't end himself. I'm reminded of this, or rather, this sort of topic was brought up to me because I've been reading about and watched a little bit of a show. I can't remember the name of the show. It's something like Sayonara something sensei. I can't remember the name of the character, but basically it's about a teacher who I I already said this. I already said the C word that can get you demonetized. This is another word that can bury this video, and I'd rather this video not be buried. But it's the stuff that I've prevented 161 people from doing. The show's very dark humor. It's absurdist. It's fantastic. The last 10 chapters, apparently, which didn't get animated, unfortunately, so fucking bullshit. But, the show... I'd have to spoil the ending. So if you don't want to hear about the ending to a manga, which you're probably not going to end up reading, like, let's not kid ourselves. You're probably not going to fucking read it. But basically, the end of the manga is that the character that's the hopeful side of things, while the teacher is the despair side of things. And this is going to take a bit to explain. So, the teacher has a classroom that's mostly girls. The boys are also there, but because of how things go, the boys just don't matter. The girls are all teenagers that either were on the verge of dying or had attempted to become a statistic, I guess is a good way to put it that YouTube won't get angry at me for. They ended up with parts of another girl inside of them because of the organ donation and blood donation. I believe marrow, like bone marrow in one or two of them. Though I might be getting that part mixed up with, because I was also reading about Dragon Age stuff and how they use the bone marrow from the Elder Dragons, or the Archdemon. Yeah, they use Archdemon bone marrow to get Archdemon blood during times there isn't a blight. I might be mixing the bone marrow part from that with this. But anyway, bunch of teenage girls, they have the bits of this one girl in her, like an eye, a lung, blood, and a bunch of other stuff. The dead girl is able to possess individual members of this classroom who have her bits in them. So she ends up... Where was I even going with this? Man, it's just so wild. I'm like, how did this even... I'm looking at my notes and I'm just like, oh, long story short. The girls go to school so that they can graduate and let the dead girl graduate too by virtue of being there. The boys are kind of just acting. I don't know how this is set up even. It seems like a weird last minute switch. Apparently, 290 out of 300 chapters are like, every chapter is just gags and shit. Even the anime. The anime is just in every episode is just a little gag. It's like, oh, let's explore the... And it's the humor that I like, where it's like, oh, explore the logical conclusion of a thing. Where it's like, take a common turn of phrase and then spend 24 minutes being like, but what if two birds... what if a bird in the hand was in fact worth two in a bush? And then just stretching that out for 24 minutes of like gags and just constant humor in the anime too. I watched one episode and I had to keep pausing because the blackboard has gags almost every single shot. Every time they would change like perspective, they would change who they're looking at. There would be stuff on the blackboard and it would be translated to English next to it, and I'd pause it to read it. I'm like, man, this is just full of jokes. Going back to my notes, we're almost at the 10-minute mark. I'm only through two of my bullet notes. I'm not even through two of them. Okay, so back to it. I'm doing this because I'm doing it in a way that's... In a way, he's playing through these games with me. Half his ashes are behind me, like 5 feet away, in an urn that I had to buy. I think in his favorite shade of blue, though I'm not quite sure. I just remember it was like midnight blue or something, and I'm like, that's kind of midnighty. Let's see. Yeah, the other part. I already went over the capturing the loving video games again. We used to play video games until about the 2015 mark, though that was also just my depression getting worse as well. But he was getting more and more hooked on painkillers at that time because it's all part of the opioid epidemic, in that they didn't really want to move him away from opioids, and he was like firmly hooked. He was on, I remember at different points, he was on methadone, he was on morphine, he was on a couple other things too at different points. He was generally just half crippled his entire life. Like, his knee was shattered when he slipped and fell in a hospital once, and they refused to admit fault for having wet floors, so he couldn't sue them to get proper surgery done. His back was all messed up. I can't quite remember what all caused that. I know he had scoliosis at the very least, but he had, what was it, herniated or, like, joined discs or something? Just a lot of problems. And altogether, you know, between all that, he had less and less joy in his life with games, and so I was like, well, I can help bring some of that joy back, even if he is dead. And the cooking show ties into that as well. He worked in kitchens for a while. He worked in at least 3 or so. He worked professionally as, like, he went to Le Cordon Bleu or something. He did some, like, for living in a rural town, for being a trans dude that was raised in a town, born in 71. So, like, by the time he graduated and stuff, it was like 89 or whatever. Actually, no, he didn't graduate with, like, a diploma. He had to go back and get his GED. I think he did that when I was a baby. But, Le Cordon Bleu was fancy for, like, that kind of a dude. I don't even know how he got into it. I don't know how he afforded it. Though I think the training is cheaper nowadays. I think it was more... I've never looked into it myself, but I think, like, it's just, you know, it's something that you don't hear about from around here. At best, you hear somebody getting their serve safe, which the qualification for that, like I said before, the standards for kitchens in this area are on the floor. The bar can barely be any lower. Most of the people I've worked with are rapid alcoholics with so many DUIs they're not allowed to drive anymore. They've got ex-wives that they hate. They've got current wives that they hate. They've got more kids than they have. I can't even think of working fully functioning organs. They just meant... One of my fucking coworkers had gout. He had an 18th century rich person disease, probably because he only drank beer and ate red meat all day. And I couldn't get over it. We had to explain to him about, like, oh, you can use, like, compression socks and stuff to try to help with that issue. Wouldn't be surprised if he lost his feet eventually. He's also one of my distant cousins, which is fantastic. I was related to, like, half the kitchen. It was not the greatest. Let's see. Yeah, so kitchens. Because he actually loved cooking, my old man. And so because of that, I want to do, you know, the cooking show to help feed people. They can't afford... It's not that they can't afford meals. It's just that I want to make nice, good meals that they otherwise couldn't afford. Like, I want to be able to make stuff you'd get from a restaurant. Stuff that you would pay $15 a plate for. And give them as much as they need before they're full. I was going to try and aim for more homeless people, but unfortunately trying to find the homeless in a rural area where there's no homeless shelter, and it's just kind of like word of mouth of, oh, I saw a dude wandering around in the middle of nowhere the other day, and I'm like, I don't know. He might stab me. I don't know who this guy is. I'm not going to track down rumors of, oh, I saw a dude walking around with just plastic bags down the highway the other day. I'm like, I don't know if I should go track that guy down. He might be a woodsman. Which, yeah, there is a lot of people living in the woods. If you look at the population and you look at the actual people, like, living in houses and stuff around here, I'm like, there's gotta be, like, 400 people just living off in the woods somewhere. I don't know where they are. I'm terrified of them. Next bullet thing, before I wrap this up, and it's something that I forgot to keep doing, but it's a good thing to bring up here, is that the comment section for these videos is for you to ask me questions. Anything really you can ask me about. I'm fairly open. Topics you'd like me to cover in videos, I'll talk at length for nearly any reason. As well as if you want to talk about stories of gaming in your life that are meaningful to you, or if you want to talk about people in your life that loved games that aren't alive anymore, or just who also loved, like, my great uncle. He's still alive. He played D&D back in the day. He also, I think he played some video games. He had a SNES. In fact, I think I played Super Mario World over at his house several times. And that's about it, really. Looking over my notes, yeah. Comment down if you want to say any of those things. I'll cover topics. I make these videos maybe 3 or 4 days in advance. I try to keep an open amount of time if there's anything that's sudden that comes up that's more prevalent. I'll try to make sure that I could just push the audio for one of these videos into the future. But because I'm using game footage, sometimes it's a little like, if the video's already done, I don't want to have to redo it just to cover the topic. So I might just do a short if it's urgent, if it's like, oh, there's a big sale going on, it's only a day. So anyway, see you next time.